Hello, how are you doing? Welcome back to some more F1 2021 and another part of our Immersive Driver Career Mode. With Mercedes, we are very much into the second half of the season now, and we are heading towards Russia as the Russian Grand Prix kicks off the flyaway season after the Italian Grand Prix. We are currently leading the championship by 3 points over Max Verstappen, despite only 2 wins this season. We have been incredibly consistent. Other than the British Grand Prix, we have finished in the points of every race, and in every race since Portugal, other than Britain, we have finished either first or second. So we really are in a fantastic position. We're 3 points clear of Max Verstappen. In the Constructors, we are 5 points clear of Red Bull. So it is incredibly close. Lewis Hamilton and Bottas are going to be battling it out to try and help us win the Constructors title. It is going to be a big one, though. We've popped in our first engine of the season. It's not the freshest. It's certainly not the freshest. It's our second freshest engine. We're going to put that in for the next couple of Grand Prix because certainly for Mexico and Saudi Arabia, we're going to want the most power we can possibly have. We are probably going to have to take a new control electronics at some point because that is seriously worn, and we don't want to risk having an engine failure, really. You know, the unit will lose power, is the idea. So hopefully we will see. It says if this gets worn, then you can have increased wear for the other parts. So it's not a real great one, and driving on uneven curbs is not going to help us, and certainly with some of the Grand Prix coming up, that could be a problem. We are on the way to a maxed out Mercedes. We have our final ever upgrade coming in, an ultimate aerodynamic upgrade, and that's going to be in place for the next Grand Prix. So this is going to be a purely maxed out Mercedes. You can see by the progress history, we are comfortably ahead of Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren, but we have had the dreaded message of next year's regulations are going to be changing. So hopefully we are going to be able to save quite a lot of it because we've developed nice and early. We're maxed out. We should have plenty of resource points. So fingers crossed we can keep the car virtually maxed out for next season. But it would be nice to finish off this year with a bang, and let's see how we get on in qualifying today. It's a big qualifying session. If we don't do particularly well, we might just take a fresh engine here, but I always enjoy driving Russia, so hoping for a positive result here. Here we come up to the line at the end of Q1, and that is quickest to 1:28.4, by far the quickest lap of our weekend so far. Lewis Hamilton has gone second. It'll be interesting to see how much quicker he's managed, or how much slower he's managed to go in Q1. I think there is a little bit of time in the car. Charlie Leclerc up into second as well. Ferrari definitely are improving in this second half of the season. They have been right up there. And let's have a little look. So we are 1/10 quicker than Charles Leclerc and 3/10 quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen only 6th at the moment. Well, there you go. How often do we see this? Quickest in Q1. Max Verstappen did improve. He came back out and went very, very close to our time. But there's a lot of track evolution here. So do expect it to get much quicker by the end of Q2 and Q3. Here we go then, up to the line, and we go P3. For the moment, Pierre Gasly is actually quickest, and he's got a 23.3 in there. We were a couple of tenths slower than him. Verstappen a little bit quicker this time, but this is all about getting through to Q3. The 2 Ferraris close behind us. But we are managing to, get through very, very comfortably, which is nice. Usually we're really struggling in qualifying, but this weekend the car just seems to be hooked up. Obviously my old setups must be pretty decent around here, and you can see we can gain a little bit of time, just sort of testing the waters. Tyre wear isn't really an issue around here. We certainly don't want to do that in qualifying 3 and lose a lap time. That could be very crucial, but if we can get out there early in Q3, get the banker time in, and then just give it everything on our final lap. But Lewis Hamilton certainly is currently in the bottom 5. I don't know what happened on his lap. It must have made a mistake or something, but he's currently in 14th, so we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully Lewis isn't out in Q2, but there's a distinct possibility of it, and this is one of the trickiest pit entries of the year. Yeah, mainly because the sort of the speed limit sign is slightly before the line to come into the pit lane, the pit limiter line, so just got to be a little bit careful not to slow down too much. But let's keep on board and we'll see what happens by the end of Q2. You can see it's our second sector where we're not quite having the same impact. Third sector not great either compared to Gasly, and there you go, Lewis Hamilton goes third. Eventually we are in 6th, but Sergio Perez quickest in Q2, Verstappen there, Hamilton there, Pierre Gasly in 4th. This is going to be a close run thing for pole position. Mick Schumacher just making it into the top 10. Wow, this could be really exciting. Here we go then, we are going into the third sector as we are preparing for our ultimate pole position lap. At the start of Q3 here, now we do have Mick Schumacher just a little bit in front of us, so we're going to just slow it down nicely. And now we're going to go for it. So here we go. Let's see if we can get pole position around this Sochi Autodrome at a really important juncture of this season. A little bit slow out of the exit there, so somewhere to improve on our next lap perhaps. And here we come then onto the pit straight. We have been the quickest through the speed traps all weekend as we pull it down into turn 2 and 3 and missed the first apex a little bit, but shouldn't have lost too much time as we go into this wonderful turn 4 and need to make sure that your car is nice and straight as you come down so that you can hit the apex and glide the car through. So we come through the first sector and we've been purple there all weekend. Not this time though, a little bit wide. Have to just back off the throttle a little bit so that you don't get your lap time deleted. Hit the apex and once again we go a little bit wide, and there this time we have lost our time. And that sets us back a little bit too much, you would feel, for us to get pole position today. We're going to absolutely have to hammer the next lap to get anything close, but we can see what we would have got and see where we can improve. We might be able to have a second go, but no, there's only a lap's worth of fuel in the car, so I think actually it's probably worth just coming back in. There's no point in continuing on. So our schedule is mixed up. I think we come back out there straight away on these tyres and see what we can do, but Lewis Hamilton quickest at the moment with a 128.5. Well, here we go then. Our second run at pole position. We went straight back out there on the used tyres and we will see what we can manage. I think we should be able to get at least into the top 5 with this lap, but a little bit wide into the first corner. That's going to lose us a couple of tenths, but the main thing is get your time in so that worst case scenario you do start 5th and not 10th. And getting a little bit wide there as we come through the end of the first sector, and it's not brilliant. It's actually 3.5 tenths down on Valterri Bottas, so this might not even be good enough for what I was thinking. Top 5, a little bit wide there again. And Charles Leclerc has actually took pole position as it stands, so this has not been a good lap. It really hasn't been. We'll see how we're doing through the second sector. Still 2.5 tenths down on 5th position. Lost a bit of time there, and third sector is where we've been struggling. Might as well take the rest out of the tyres here But there is big improvements to be had on the next lap as we miss the apex there. Oh my goodness, what a scrappy end of the lap. And it's a 1:29.4. That is embarrassingly bad. A second slower than anything we've been doing in qualifying so far. And that is what you call a bottle job. That was horrible. Well, we didn't make it to the line for our final pole position run. It's an absolute disaster. We start in 10th position. That is absolutely
We're
gutting.
all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Leclerc, Verstappen, and Lando Norris. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Well, that is an absolute disaster, isn't it? Oh, my word. And that's why it's so important to get the banker lap in, and we messed up, put pressure on ourselves, had to go out, get ourselves out of sequence, and we missed the line by 3 seconds. That is a complete disaster. Well, I think that's made the decision. I'm going to take a brand new, fresh engine, and hopefully we'll see where we end up. You know, given our starts, we're probably not going to end up making much at the start of the Grand Prix. So, you know, we're probably going to head backwards. We're probably going to be in a similar position at the end of lap 1, starting at the back, as starting in 10th, in my opinion. So that's what we'll do. I'm absolutely gutted because I really thought we had some sensational pace, but we just couldn't hook it up in qualifying 3 when it mattered. And there you go, 10th position. Absolute rubbish.
Welcome along then to Sochi and the Russian Grand Prix, one of 8 cities in the world to play host to both the Olympics and a Formula One race. It's a Grand Prix that's proven difficult to crack for anyone beyond the first 2 rows of the grid in recent years, so let's see if that can change today. It's full throttle for around 56% of the lap here at the Sochi Autodrome, a 3.6-mile run around the site of the 2014 Winter Olympics. 12 right turns and 6 left turns give us a total count of 18, with passing opportunities available into turns 1 and 13. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the captain. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Hamilton, Pierre Gasly and Mick Schumacher, Perez, Bottas, Tsunoda and the captain, Giovinazzi, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll, Joe, Ocon, George Russell and Christian Lundgaard, Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. And with preparations almost complete...
Well, shut up, David.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Yeah, not entirely happy, I've got to say, but we got to go out there and try and perform it. And unfortunately, we're on the tyres that we started Q2 on, so it's even worse in a way. But we got a nice long run up to the first corner, and with our straight line speed, maybe we'll be able to get the jump on a few cars at the start.
Okay, go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs.
So the engine brand new, fresh, and you know, that'll hopefully give us a little bit of an advantage today in the straight line battles. But you know, it's a massive race, And
Radar is clear. Weather is looking good for now.
we got to be really, really careful, you know, because if we lose a front wing or something early on, we've got no chance of getting back into the points. So it's got to be a good mix of aggression, but logic, I think, is what we're looking for. And there may well be a safety car. We've had some funny incidents over the years here in Russia, and it could well end up that there is a funny moment that causes a safety car and we get right back into the race. But oh dear, don't want to hit the wall too often. But you know, we just gotta play the percentages, I think, and try and get right back into this Grand Prix and not worry too much if we only get up to 7th or 6th by the end of the Grand Prix, because that is still points, and as we found out from Britain, that could turn out to be crucial. Go on, Mazepin. Now if we hold back here, we get ourselves nice hot tyres. So Charles Leclerc on pole position, then Verstappen, then Norris. Lewis Hamilton only 4th in this Grand Prix, so it has been our Achilles heel this year, really, qualifying. We've got the quickest car, but we've not really been hooking it up, either of us, so it has been interesting. But here we go, starting at the back. It's always going to be fun. Let's strap in tight and hope for an excellent Russian Grand Prix. Lights out, away we go. Straight away here in Russia, lots of wheel spin off the start. That wasn't the best start for us at all, because we were caught by surprise. If anything, there's surely going to be some incidents as we head up towards the first corner. I think we'll be wise just to stay out of it and maybe work our way around the outside, and that's exactly what we do there. And we gain 3 positions right at the start there, and we go down the inside of the Haas of Nikita Mazepin, and we're up to 17th place by the end of the first sector, and we hold it, keep it clear round the outside there, so we're up to 16th now. And I don't think that's too bad. We just got to be patient here. Unfortunately, it looks like Max Verstappen has jumped Charles Leclerc at the start, so that just makes our job a little bit harder to try and reduce the damage. But we've got a good run on Esteban Ocon here, and maybe on Guan Yu Zhou as well, and we go down the inside, so up to 14th place now. Excellent first lap for us, and really measured as well. You know, we haven't chucked it down the inside where it wasn't wanted, and we're going to be set up beautifully into the slipstream of this Aston Martin going into the start of the second lap. So just got to make sure we get a good run here, and that's pretty good. So at the end of the first lap, we make up 6 positions, and now we are closing in on Lance Stroll. Is he going to go at the inside? No, he's not, but there's not enough room for us to have a go there, so we'll have to think about that one again. Well, a chance to go down the inside of Lance Stroll here. A little bit riskier, that move, but we are through. Up to 13th now. And this is absolutely perfect. This is what we wanted. And DRS comes available next lap. So DRS train inbound, but hopefully with our straight line speed advantage, we should be in a good position to take advantage. We're closing in on Fernando Alonso. We're not going to make the move this lap, but should make it maybe later in the lap.
Has started to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form.
Well, this is fast becoming our overtaking spot, this one. Oh, Fernando Alonso, goodness me. Broke very early there. That was a brake check and a half. But we managed to hold him off, luckily, and get past him. He deserves, really, to lose that position to Stroll as well. I couldn't believe that. That could have been the end of the Grand Prix. That was a brake check and a half from Alonso. Wow. Anyway, coming up to the end of lap 3.
The pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
And we are now chasing after the other Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel. We're not far off the points here.
Understood, stopping this lap.
Well, we're going to ask the team to prepare for us at the end of this lap, because I'm thinking of a word beginning with U. If we can undercut these guys up ahead, because we are quicker than them, and I don't think that should change being on the medium tyres. So coming in early, getting that clear air and undercutting could be absolutely huge. And we're in. Not the best pit entry, but wanted to be safe than sorry. And we're away nicely. 2.8 seconds, not a bad pit stop. So now we've got the clear air. We've got plenty of space to push. And hopefully we can undercut ourselves right into the middle of that points battle. And it all looks like a big train led by Lewis Hamilton, our teammate. So let's see how we get on here. Well, interestingly, Max Verstappen has covered us here. He's reacted to the fact we've pitted so early, and that was a purple final sector. So Max Verstappen only 7 seconds up the road. He's, remember, the leader of this Grand Prix. So this is a really interesting phase now. There you go, fastest lap of the race. Lots of people in the pits, and look at this, look how many we've jumped. There's the Ferrari of Sergio Perez, and that is Pierre Gasly and Valtteri Bottas ahead of us, so the undercut has definitely worked a treat here. And we are very much back into this Grand Prix now, because Max Verstappen is also caught in the traffic of the back markers. Well, what a strategy move that was. And tyre wear really shouldn't be too much of an issue around here, so I'm expecting that we should be able to compete until the end of the race here. Well, there's Charles Leclerc. He's on the right-hand side. There's Lewis Hamilton, our teammate. Pierre Gasly right in front of us here. And we go down the inside of both of them. Oh, what a move that is. We had to risk it, because I think we'd have went into the back of Gasly, because he'd have had to take avoiding action of Lewis Hamilton. So it was a late move, but we are through. And somehow from the back of the grid, we are now up to 5th position and fighting for a podium place, because Bottas is now trapped behind Nicholas Latifi. But I tell you what, Pierre Gasly is going to be rapid behind us. He always is in this game for some reason. And now, well, what a chance we're going to have on Bottas. This is going to be a great run. He's going to go to the inside of Latifi.
5 laps of fuel remaining.
Oh, but Latifi is squeezing us a little bit. Brilliant. And we managed to go round the outside of Bottas and just about managed to slow it down. There's Christian Lundgaard for 2nd place. We are going to be up to 2nd in this Grand Prix. How on earth have we managed this? That undercut is so powerful. And we're only 4 seconds behind Max Verstappen, because he's had to fight his way through the traffic. And now, what a battle this is going to be between 1st and 2nd in the championship. He is going to be furious that we've managed to take a free engine. We only qualified in 10th, but now we are hunting Max Verstappen down with a fresh engine. With similar age tyres, his are only 1 lap fresher. And Max Verstappen is now going to be looking in his mirrors. What a race this has been. Well, we have just set the fastest lap of the race, and we are now only 2.5 seconds behind Max Verstappen. We are closing in on him, and closing in on him fast. This is a ridiculous comeback, and we are zoned in. We are absolutely throwing this car around the circuit. Well, this is absolutely ridiculous. We're 2 seconds behind. We're picking up a second a lap on Max Verstappen, meaning that we're going to be within the DRS zone this time next lap. It's going to be a last lap shootout. Well, Max Verstappen has responded, and he has just put in the same lap time as us. Okay, ours was a little bit scrappy, but now he's really made it into surely a last lap battle here. We've got to use this lap to catch up to him. We've got the pace. Well, we can start to see the gearbox of Max Verstappen, and he just is struggling with the car. Oh, there's yellow flags. What on earth has happened? Has there been an incident?
On Gasly. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Well, Gasly seems to have had an incident at some point. But here we come onto the final lap of the race, and I just don't think we're going to have enough, because we're not going to get into that DRS zone. Unless we can get into it by the end of the lap. Good first corner. Now then, got to be careful of the turbulent air through turn 4, but we have just got it hooked up to a T. Miss the apex a little bit there. I'll tell you what, this has been... It's just brilliant from Max Verstappen. Hold on here. But we can't be too disappointed, because this is a ridiculous result from 20th on the grid to finish second just behind the leader. That is not bad at all. And yeah, we're not going to quite do it. I think we've just run out of steam at the end here, and always the AI absolutely pelted on the final lap. So Max Verstappen is going to do this unless there's a late mistake, and he has been slipping and sliding through here, but doesn't look like it's going to happen in this final section. So Max Verstappen is going to come round. He's going to retake the lead of the Drivers' Championship. He comes round. The checkered flag is there. And Max Verstappen wins the Russian Grand Prix. We finished second once again this season. And wow, I mean, that is a massive 19 points from this Grand Prix. From absolutely nowhere.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team. So, let's review the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen's excellent result today sees him take over as leader of the Drivers' Championship. Now, let's discuss, Ant, who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
I have to give it to the captain. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull take over as championship leaders. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So there you have it there. Max Verstappen wins the Russian Grand Prix. We finish a very, very close second. And hey, had Max Verstappen, the race-winning move was him coming into the pits that lap earlier than the rest of the field. He responded to us pitting so early, and wow, what a good job it is that he did, because had it not been the case, we would have been so much closer to him at the end there, and I think with DRS we would have flew past him. Bottas finishes an excellent third ahead of Lewis in fourth. I mean, ourselves as the top four, we are just dominating this season, but for me to get in there, and Bottas to get in there, to be honest, from where we were, is very, very good. Gasly finishes in 5th, with Leclerc in 6th, Perez 7th, Schumacher in 8th, Tsunoda 9th, and Lando Norris in 10th. Vettel outside the points. Alonso, his early season charge has definitely faded in recent races. He's only scored 24 points since the second race of the season, which he won, of course, the first 2. So, very disappointing for him and Alpine that's been the case. But Max Verstappen back ahead in the championship by 3 points. It's got a bit of a familiar feeling this season to a certain season that's just gone in real life. Bottas and Hamilton fighting for 3rd in the championship. You feel 50 points is a long way to make up. However, if myself and Max were to come together and both be out of a race, then they'd be right back into it. Gasly is a wonderful 5th for Valterri. What a season he is having. And, well, he might end up finishing 3rd in the championship. I have no idea. He's just absolutely gunning for it. Perez is now ahead of Alonso. Leclerc into the top 8 as well, which is very good to see. Constructor standings, 4 points in it. Red Bull are ahead of us once again. It is going to be such a close race to the end of the season. AlphaTauri are still in 3rd with Ferrari. Alpine and McLaren level on points for 5th and 6th. What a close season this is going to be, and what it's going to end up, and who knows who's going to come out on top in this year's championship. We are both pushing each other to absolute ridiculous heights. We've got that fresh engine now. We shouldn't need to take any more parts from now until the end of the season. So it's going to be an exciting run-in. I think there's 5 races to go. I cannot wait to show you all those races in the coming weeks. So if you have enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up down below, subscribe for plenty more Formula 1 content, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.